Hey, what's going on, guys? Greg here. And in this video, I want to break down how to make better decisions when it comes time to grow your agency. And I want to give a quick shout out to Alex Hormozy from the Gym Secrets podcast. He, in one of his more recent podcast episodes, brought up this topic, which came from a book that I read about 2 years ago that I've been meaning to read again, which is this book called The Road Less Stupid. And The Road Less Stupid really, as you make your way through the book, it really is teaching you to spend more time thinking and asking yourself questions on how you could grow your business. And so he was rereading this book as well. Highly recommend this book to any entrepreneur far and wide if you have not read it. We've even given it to our Academy clients as reading material in the past. And what came up in Alex's podcast is, this decision-making criteria, 3 questions you can ask yourself to make better decisions. Now, for you in your situation, in your business, you might be considering doing a number of things that you're kind of weighing right now, and you're not sure, is it worth doing? Should I do this? And maybe you're stuck in that indecision. And what I can tell you is the anxiety that you feel, this is a great quote from one of my previous mentors, or one of my mentors, Brad, is that anxiety lives between the alternatives. And so if you're kind of like deciding between A or B, and like you're sitting there like kind of mulling it over, thinking about it, and you really never get around to making a decision, it actually can do a whole lot more harm than good. So when Alex shared these 3 questions, it kind of resurfaced for me. I was like, man, I really need to share this, because I know many of you right now that are watching are probably asking different types of questions that could help you kind of take your business to the next level. Questions like, should I invest in a mentor or maybe a coaching program? Maybe it's our coaching program. Maybe it's another person's program. Should I hire that new team member? Should we build a webinar funnel? Should we insert the thing that you are considering right now? And we get stuck in sort of this indecision, and obviously that creates that anxiety. So the 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself to really decide if you should be doing it or not really are very simple and come from this book. The 3 questions: what is the upside? What is the downside? And can I live with it? All right. Now, the 2 examples. First example that I want to share with you, in just pulling up some notes here, is, for me, I'll say, is hiring a sales rep. Okay. So we just brought on 2 people onto our team, and bringing those people on obviously has an upside and a downside, and there's expenses involved, and it was a difficult decision to make. So here's how I looked at that process through this lens. So should I hire sales reps? Upside. Well, what's the upside of hiring a sales rep? Well, really what it came down to when we did the math was we could at least double our monthly revenue. In addition to, so that was like one big, we hit this wall in revenue, and having these people come on would easily allow us to double our monthly revenue. Simultaneously, it would also decrease Greg's time on sales activities by a minimum of 20 hours a week. So upside is Greg gets at least 20 hours a week back. It's probably more close to like 25 to 30, honestly. 20 to 30 hours a week back in his time, plus we could double our revenue at a minimum when these guys get up to speed. The downside is, well, it could take, 2 to 6 months to really ramp them up. And from my research and talking to different people that have gone through this process, I needed to kind of expect that my revenue would go down during this process, because I'd have to train them. I'd have to get them up to speed for deals that they are closing. We're not going to hit the same volume while I'm also training these people. So the downside is we could go, 30, 60, realistically 90 days without having new sales. Now, there's obviously ways to mitigate some of that, but I looked at the downside as, well, our revenue is most likely going to go down for a few months while this is happening. And then the question is, well, assuming the revenue did go down, by a certain percent, can I live with that, knowing that what the upside is? Like, am I willing to tough it out for a handful of months to get these people up to speed to experience this upside? For me, the answer was simple, and it was yes. And so we committed to bringing on and hiring and building out our sales team. And, Mike and Larry are now in week 5 or 6 of, onboarding, and they're doing a great job. So thankfully we didn't, while we're probably going to have a few less sales this month than we did the month before, like, they're getting deals. It's showing hope. It's showing promise that this was a really good decision. And we're already, setting up ourselves for much bigger and better months. And Greg has gotten a lot more of his time back. So that first example was sales reps. All right. I'm going to change the color here. And the second example I want to give you is really the transition from the agency model to the kind of, call it, adding the consulting or coaching stream of revenue. All right. So I tell this story a lot. In 2017, we're still kind of a funnel building marketing automation agency. And we were at this point where we were doing anywhere between like 55 and 65K a month. And really the only way I saw past that at the time was hiring more people. And we were at about 8 or 9 people. And I just didn't want to bring on more people. I came from big agency. I wanted to escape that. And so when we were stuck at that point, we had to look at, well, what is the upside? What is the downside? And what is, the potential that, can I live with it? In making this decision, in making this transition from being full service agency to adding a new revenue stream that is more done with you, kind of the hybrid model that we preach, which is, combination of coaching, consulting, training, and execution. And I know many of you watching are probably in that place. Like, you're so stuck in fulfillment, whether you're doing 20K a month, 50 a month, 40 a month, 50 a month, 60 a month, wherever you're stuck. You're just so bogged down in client fulfillment that you don't even know if you can have time to add this thing. And you might be asking yourself, well, I know I want to get around to this, but I don't know if I can do this right now. This is where I would be asking that question. And so let's look at the upside. So what's the upside? The upside is, the future of your business is actually, you've already decided that the future of your business is in this direction. Other upsides could be, within the next 90 days, you have, 3 to 10 paying clients that in totality require, maybe 3 to 4 hours of fulfillment, whether you have the 3 or the 10, unlike what you do right now, which is where maybe each new client comes with 10 hours a week. So the upside is I'm making more money with less effort, and I'll see the benefits of that somewhere within 30, 60, 90 days. And it's sort of the direction that I want to be going in the long term anyway. But there's a downside. The downside to that is, maybe you have to let go 1 to 2 of your clients right now that are not that profitable and or consuming most of your bandwidth. Maybe you need to, push hard for, another 30, 60 days to make it through this transition, which means, maybe you do need to work a little bit more hours and get up a little bit early, stay up a little late temporarily to position yourself to have the business model that you want. And maybe along with that, that means that your budget or your income goes down and you need to be a little bit tighter on all of your extracurricular activities for the time being. Maybe it's a combination of these, maybe it's one of these. For us, we realized that if we added 1 new client in our new model, we could go back and have a conversation with 2 to 3 of our legacy clients and transition them out, because 1 new client replaced 2 to 3 old clients. And that was a decision. So I was like, okay, well, another downside is, legacy clients, like having those relationships. We didn't want to burn those bridges. So upside is it's the future of our business. We could serve 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 clients a month with relatively the same amount of fulfillment, whether it was 1 or 50, or we could, but with doing that, we had to obviously maybe let go of a couple clients or not take on a few more clients right now and add a little bit more time to launch this new thing, which means I'm already exhausted. I'm going to be a little bit more exhausted, or I'm going to sacrifice some short-term revenue for this potential upside revenue. And another thing of that downside is maybe it takes longer than what you planned. So that could be a thing too. But then you ask yourself, well, can you live with it? And for us, I said, if we could just get one new client in our new model, we were able to replace the revenue that was coming from a couple clients and get 80% of our time back. So for us, it was, again, a no-brainer as a yes. If I had to work harder, like nights, weekends, which I did, to make that transition possible, did it suck? Yes. But I was able to live with that, knowing it was a short-term sacrifice, not the rest of my life, because I knew that if I didn't get this upside, the rest of my life would be stuck in the fulfillment the way it had been going. So there's just 2 examples right there for us hiring sales reps, and 2, starting to make this transition by adding a new revenue stream on top of what we were already doing in our agency, knowing that the long-term plan was to fully transition out of done-for-you agency work. We ended up saying yes. Now, if you go, depending upon what you're doing right now, I want you to comment below. What is the thing you're considering right now? And I want you to then share, 1, what is the thing you're considering? What is the upside? What is the downside? And then assuming the downside, can you live with it? I want you to comment that below. And I'll hop into the comments and I'll share my feedback and maybe ask you some challenging questions to make you feel that you've chosen the right path, whether that's yes or no. Because, hey, you might say, all right, I'm not willing to sacrifice that downside right now, which means the answer is no. And then you can move on with your life and focus on either the next decision or the thing that you need to be focused on in that moment. So if you are looking to grow your business, or you've been weighing 2 options, or needing to make a decision so that you relieve yourself of the anxiety that comes between the space of alternatives, I hope this process and decision-making criteria, these 3 questions, can help you in some way, shape, or form. Let me know below, and hope this finds you well, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. So I'm obviously going to edit that video. For those of you watching, that was my process for making the video. I'm going to obviously make a few cuts and edits to that in post-production, since you saw me mess up. And I actually sort of messed up twice, but I'm just going to go with it because I caught myself early enough. But while I'm here, there's a handful of you watching. If you're watching the replay, I'd love for you guys to participate. Right, #replay, and then answer those questions that I kind of prompted, which will obviously be on the YouTube channel here in a few weeks. But what is something you're considering doing? Maybe it's joining our program. Maybe it's hiring a different coach. Maybe it's hiring a specific person. Maybe it's letting someone go. Whatever it is, maybe investing in a certain vacation, putting money down, a down payment on something. You can run yourself through this criteria in a lot of different ways for a lot of different things. And I've found it to be really, really useful, and we've used it over the years. And I hope it serves you too. And then again, obviously, if you haven't read the book, then definitely go read Road Less Stupid, which looks like that right there. Read that book. Road Less Stupid, because it's a phenomenal read, and you'll have plenty of thought-provoking questions that you can be asking yourself to take things to the next level. So hope this finds you well. Enjoy the rest of your day.